Hey English 11, Mr. Nass here. We are looking at Lesson 4 in Unit 2, and this lesson focuses on rhetorical appeals. So, our goal today is understand how a text uses ethos, pathos, and logos to appeal to an audience. You will need your notebook. You will need to take some notes here on rhetorical appeals. So pause my video and go grab your notebook if you don't have it. Here's our framework. Now, as you know, we have been working on rhetorical situation in our first 3 lessons and in our first mini summative. Exigence, audience, and purpose. You should already know what those things mean and what they are. If you don't, you have a Quizlet set, a study set that you can go ahead and practice a little bit or look back at your notes. Anyways, today we're moving on to appeals. We're going to do the second part of the framework right here. Ethos, logos, pathos. You need to know what those words mean and what an appeal is in rhetoric. The essential questions have not changed. They're right here. And so let's continue on and talk a little bit about appeals. Write this down. Rhetorical appeals are modes of persuasion, ways of convincing an audience to do something. So these are different ways that authors or speakers try to convince people to agree with them or to believe what they're saying or to do something. That is what a rhetorical appeal is. Now let's talk about the 3 different types, and you need to write down these definitions and understand what they mean. Ethos would be an argument based on someone's character, like how great of a person they are, or their job, what they do for a living, why they can be trusted about something. That's ethos. Logos would be an argument based on facts, reason, or evidence. Sometimes, but not always, a logos appeal will have like a statistic or a number to try to give you a fact and convince you of something. Not always, though. There can be reasons without numbers or evidence without numbers. But that's what logos is. Like, let me tell you why and give you the perfect reasons or statistics to convince you. And then pathos is all about feelings. So an argument based on feelings. Make you sad, make you think, oh, something needs to change, I need to act, I need to do something. That would be pathos. You're appealing to people's feelings, trying to get them to feel a certain way so that they agree. So those are your 3 types of appeals. Make sure you have written those down. Ethos, logos, pathos. That's what we're going to be studying in this part of the unit and what you need to know to do well on all of our assignments. So let's take a look at some examples and jot down a little more detail about these different appeals. Ethos, someone's character or job. So whenever a professional athlete is used, like in the example over here of vitamin water, typically that's an ethos argument. Sometimes it's just maybe an expert in a certain field. Oftentimes it's a celebrity or an athlete, and it's trying to get people to think, oh, I should trust this person. They know about this for whatever reason. So jot down a few of these things. Credible, trustworthy, based on what they do. They seem like they really mean what they say. Maybe they're a morally great person or they're really likable. Those type of things are ethos appeals. So jot down a couple of those things so you remember what ethos is. Now let's look at, we already talked about this advertisement. Let's look at logos. Facts, reason, evidence. Check this out over here. Why should you buy this toothpaste? Well, it removes up to 80% of surface stains. Surface stains. That's an interesting way to talk about teeth. Anyways, it's whitening toothpaste. So check out this fact. Check out what it can do. And that would be a logos argument. Reasoning and logical evidence. So sometimes it's scientific facts. Sometimes it's historical facts. Sometimes it's data. quotations, citations from an expert, somebody who knows what they're talking about, or examples from real life to try to get you to think that makes sense. It makes sense to agree with that person. And advertisement is just one example of the type of rhetoric that uses these appeals. I'm going to jump past this one and look at pathos. So here we have this little girl, and it just makes you see the little girl, and she's cute, and you're thinking, what's going on? And it's a little bit difficult, actually, to see what this says. But basically, it's trying to get you this emotional response. Down here it says Child Health Foundation. She has a little halo around her head, and it says some children get to heaven earlier. And so, oh my goodness, that's trying to make you feel really sad, like you probably should do something, and you probably should support the Children's Health Foundation, right? So we have descriptions and images, emotional examples, figurative language, and trying to get you to feel a certain way, to agree with what's being said. I'm going to jump ahead here. Here's just a visual for you to think about. Pathos being that feeling, ethos being that expert, and logos being the facts. Now, ethos and logos, don't get confused. Here we're looking at some sort of character or expertise. Here we're looking at specific arguments or facts. So there's a little bit where we can get confused here, but just remember there's a slight difference in ethos and logos. So ethos, credibility, like you should trust the person. Logos, facts, and pathos, emotions and how you feel. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the work that you're going to do. A few of the assignments in this lesson have to do with a speech by Sojourner Truth. And I'm going to go ahead and there's a video that you can watch to see the background about her instead of me talking about it here as well. But you will need to learn about who she is so that you can complete some of the assignments here on this lesson. So let's go ahead and jump ahead. Let's take a look at the work for this lesson. And we'll finish up this instructions video. Here you go, lesson 4. You have a must do, should do, and a mastery check. The must do looks like this. Very simply, you have 3 advertisements, and you need to tell me what's the appeal type. Remember, ethos, pathos, logos. And tell me, why did you choose that? Why did you think that was the appeal type being used in this advertisement? Hopefully, based on the examples I just gave you, this is super easy. So just show that you understand those 3 things. Now, the should do prepares you for the mastery check. So if you skip it, you may not do as well on the mastery check. You might not be ready for it. So the should do is looking at a speech by Sojourner Truth. She was an abolitionist. She spoke out and acted to try to end slavery. And she was also someone who spoke out for women's rights, and so just a world changer, somebody who stood up for what she believed in a time when it wasn't easy. And so here you're going to look at a speech that she gave. So you can read and listen. Here we have a link to the speech, to people reading this speech. And then you can work with a partner if you want, if that helps you. If it doesn't help you, please don't. And then you'll be highlighting. Highlight pathos arguments in blue. Highlight ethos in yellow. Highlight logos in red. In the notes column, write down questions, comments, connections, and also write down any of the rhetorical situation information that you notice, exigence, audience, and purpose. We have a little video here that's a biography, a couple minutes of background about Sojourner Truth. Also right here you can read a little bit about her story. I would say you need to do that to understand what she's saying or what she's talking about. Here's the text to the speech. This link is the same one as above to the speech video. You need to read and listen to that and then make your notes over here and highlight the text of the speech and answer these 4 questions. So that's the should do, and it prepares you. Then the mastery check should be really easy once you work through the speech here. The mastery check looks like this, and I have the links to the same thing, link to the speech, and link to the should do assignment with the text of the speech, because I didn't put it here on the mastery check. Anyway, what you need to say is give examples, evidence, quotes, copy from the text of the speech, and show an ethos, a pathos, and a logos appeal, one for each, and then explain. Say, why is it an example of an appeal, and what effect is this supposed to have on the audience? How is it supposed to make them feel, think, or act? So put it all together here with the mastery check. Prove that you understand rhetorical appeals. This video was a bit longer, but I think you should be good. You have your notes done. You know what assignments you have to do. And we will see you on the next one.